so thank you for watching this video. Today we are going to review the Gzclp program. I have a love-hate relationship with this program. So it's a great program. It's created by a guy called Cody. He's a powerlifter, and it's got this concept of that you've got 3 tiers that you organize your lifts into. You've got tier 1, your main lifts, your squat, your bench, your deadlift, your overhead press. They consider that a tier 1 exercise. Then you've got your tier 2 exercises, your front squats, your close grip, bench press, basically variations on your main lifts, but also some other compound exercises like barbell rows. And then you've got your tier 3 exercises, which are your hypertrophy bodybuilding style training, where you do higher volume. However, again, you have an option of doing up to 4 exercises for tier 3, 2 for tier 2, and 1 for tier 1. So let's start looking at this program and just try and keep it short. So what we're going to do, so the first thing you must do is come to this box right here. You need to choose your gender. You need to choose whether you're going to do the 3 or 4 day program. I'm going to review the 4 day program. I prefer the 4 day program. I would advise the 4 day program. Choose kg or pounds. Do you have microplates? Those are very small plates, 0.25 kilograms, 0.51 kilograms, yes or no. That's simple as that. Okay, how heavy is your bar? 20 or 15 kilograms, 35, 45 pounds, mine's 45 pounds. And here is the as many reps as possible weight increases. AMRAP stands for as many reps as possible. You have an option to do default or the modified. If you do the default, that basically means regardless of how many extra reps you do, as many reps as you can, you always have the same weekly increment. So if you achieve that base volume for that training session, or you achieve another 3 or 4 extra reps, you just add, increase the weight for the next training session by X amount. So in the case of this one, the squat, tier 1 squat, if I achieve, let's say week 1 where I'm doing 5 sets of 3, so I have to do a minimum of 15 reps, the base volume. Let's say I do basically 4 sets of 3. On the final set I do 8 reps. Okay, I increment that by 10 kilograms. But if I choose the modified one, it actually gives me the option based on how many reps I do. I can actually change the weekly increment of weight. So if I was to do 3 to 4 reps, let's say I increase it by 10 each training session. If I was able to achieve 5 to 7 reps on the as many reps as possible set, then you might want to do 15. If I was able to do 8 to 10, you might want to make that 20. And for an overhead press or a pressing exercise, let's say I did anywhere 5 to 7, I'd make that 7.5 kilograms and then 10 kilograms for that one. My advice would be for the squat and the deadlift to progress by really a maximum of 5 kilograms. But for the pressing exercises, I would do maybe 2.5 kilograms, so a 5 pounds increase. Don't do too much. But let's keep it the default. So we've talked about all that now. Let's start in this column here, column 2. This is the exercises that you will do. Okay, you've got I would keep everything as it is in terms of tier 1. You do your squat day 1, overhead 2, bench day 3, deadlift day 4. That's a good, well-designed structured routine. You've got your bench press as your tier 1A exercise, your deadlift on day 2 as your tier 2 exercise A, squat and your overhead press. Again, that's very common structure and it's logical and it makes sense. Now for tier 3 exercise, tier 2B exercise, so the second tier 2 exercise, you have the opportunity to choose what you want really. Okay, so if you are going to do this tier 2B exercise, you want to choose one that basically is similar to the tier 1 exercise. So for example, in this instance, I would choose a front squat. For the day 2, I'm doing an overhead press. I would choose an incline press, as it doesn't have any other real options that would really be very close to that. Day 3, okay, I'm doing the bench press, so I want to do a close grip or a pause press. Up to you which one you want to do. And then day 4, you're doing the deadlift. So what I've done is I've actually added a few custom options in here. So let's say I would do a deficit or a trap barbell deadlift. If you want to add a few custom exercises because you don't like the options that they're giving you, go all the way to the last few sheets, go to the drop down sheet, and as you can see, they give you 3 custom options where you can add your own exercises that you want to do. You can see that I put in the deficit deadlifts and the trap barbell deadlift, and you can do that for tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3. So let's go back to the start sheet. Right, and the next thing we need to talk about is tier 3 exercises. What should we do? Well, it's really down to you. You've got an option to do anywhere from 1, 2, 3, 4, anywhere from 1 to 4 exercises, 1 being the minimum, 4 being the maximum. You probably want to do 2, maybe 3, but not too many of these. So my advice would be to basically choose an exercise that's linked to your tier 1 exercise. So a squat, I would consider that to be quite leg dominant, so I'm going to call this the leg day for tier 3. And I'm also going to do just a little bit of bicep training, just some bicep curls. Okay, and then day 2 we got the overhead press. That's quite shoulder based, so I'm going to do some delt exercises, side lateral, rear delt flies. You can do maybe some dumbbell presses. And then we go to day 3, we got bench, very pec focused, chest day. I've got the flat dumbbell bench press, the dips, and I'm also going to do a tricep exercise on this day. I don't want to do it on the shoulder day because day 3 I'm training bench, so I don't exactly want to have my triceps knackered from training them day 2. That's why I've done it that way. And then you got day 4 is a back day. It's more deadlift. We'll call this back day, where we're just going to do up to 4 back exercises. Now, if you're going to choose a dumbbell based exercise, you do not put in the weight of the 2 dumbbells combined. You put in the weight of just 1 dumbbell. So if you were doing 30 kg dumbbells, you wouldn't put 60, you would put 30. That's all. Just thought I'd bring that up now before I forget. So let's go to the third column now. So this is your starting weight, week 1, day 1. Now to calculate your tier 1 exercise weight, you find out what your 5 rep max is. Okay, so let's say for my squat, my 5 rep max is 190 kilograms. What I'm going to do then is take 0.85, so 85% of my 5 rep max, and that's my starting weight. I'll keep this cell down here for you to use. And because I'm doing this in kilograms, I'm not going to round that to 160. I'm going to round it to 162.5. So I'm going to put up there 162.5. So that's how you calculate your tier 1 exercise. Tier 2 is slightly different. You basically need to choose a weight that you know you can do for 3 sets of 10. So a weight that you know you can do for 10 reps. Okay, so just find out what that is. Choose that. And then for the tier 3 exercises, this again is information that you should already have because you should be an intermediate lifter at a minimum if you're doing this program. So you just put in your tier 3 exercises, what you know you can do for a minimum of 3 sets of 15 reps. So column 4 actually is where we can modify this whole program and start changing things a little bit. So you got an option to do, this is your rep scheme. So the rep scheme that you're going to choose, you have 2 options. You have a default or the modified. The default being the sort of traditional one, modified being just a variation on it. So let's look at the tier 1 default exercise. Okay, so the default is basically 5 sets of 3, 6 sets of 2, 10 sets of 1. Final set, you do as many reps as possible. That's your default. Now your modified one is the same base volume, but just a different rep scheme. You do 3 sets of 5, 4 sets of 3, or 5 sets of 2. So they all achieve, it's all the same base volume, regardless of which one you do. It's just a different rep scheme. So the tier 2 exercises, the default one is 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 8, 3 sets of 6. The modified one is less reps per set, so you do 4 sets of 8, 4 sets of 6, and 4 sets of 4. This is really a personal preference. I'll talk more about that in a minute. The default one is 3 sets of 15 to 25 reps, and the modified one is 4 sets of 12 to 18 reps. So which one you want to do is up to you. My advice would be to start with the default. Then the second time you run this program, you can do the modified and then just rotate the two options each time you train this program. So again, or it's just down to personal preference, which sort of rep scheme you like to train. So I like the default one as it is. I really like this rep scheme. So that's that really. So in terms of increment, the fifth column, we'll come back to that. So for the squat and the deadlift, you really want increments of about 10 kilograms, so 20 pounds. For pressing exercises, you want to keep that really about 2.5 to 5 kilograms, really. Let's say 5 kilograms, but 2.5 could be more sensible. And then for let's say the front squat, you probably want to keep that at 5 as well, not 10. And maybe with something like a trap barbell deadlift, you do 10 kilograms. But with the tier 3 exercises, you have to choose a weight that you think is sensible, something that you can do, you can progress and increment by each training session when you achieve the 25 plus reps. We'll talk about that later. So once you've done all that, you're ready to go. So let's start looking at the program. Yep, I've covered everything on that sheet. Okay, so the next one, let's go. So here we go. Let's delete this. This is from what I did earlier. Testing stuff out. Just delete this all. Okay, so let's start with the tier 1 exercise and check out how it works in the program. So any cell that's in grey, you do not put anything in there. Only the ones that are coloured based on that tier. So it's orange for tier 1, green for tier 2, blue for tier 3. This is your rest intervals between each working set. For the tier 1 exercise, it's probably anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, but no more than 5 minutes. So you've got 3 warm-up sets that you must achieve. This is your weight, starting weight. And then let's get going. So here you put the number of sets you achieved. So let's say this session I did 4 sets of 5. The final set I did 5 reps. So I did an additional 2 reps more than the base volume. So that's great. We go to week 2. You can see we've made a 10 kilogram jump. Okay. And let's say this week I didn't achieve the base volume. I didn't do any more reps. So I did 1 rep on the 5th set. So we go to week 3. We can now see the weight has stayed the same. There's been no increment. But we've reduced the rep scheme to 6 sets of 2 now. Now let's say this week I did 4 additional 2 reps on the 6th set. I did 4 reps. So we go to week 4. We can see we've added 10 kilograms to the starting weight. But let's say this session I did 0 reps on the 6th set. So we go to the next week. You can see we are now doing the same weight as the previous week. But we are now doing 10 sets of 1. And this is where you put the number of reps you achieved, not in these cells. Okay, these reps, sets, these ones here, these 5 cells. And let's just say to save time, I didn't achieve the 4th, the 9th and 10th set. I didn't achieve any reps on that. So that brings us to week 6. The week 6, we have to retest our squat. We have to retest and find our new 5 rep max, not your 1 rep max. You should really have an idea of what it should be based on this is your estimated 1 rep max. You take what would be your maybe 75% of that, and that could be your starting point. And then once you've done that, you go to week 7, and this should be it should say weight on this cell right here. This is from what I did earlier. And what you need to do right here is you need to put in your new 5 rep max. Now that would be, let's just say, okay, my 5 rep max, let's just say I did just, what did I say I did on, got a memory of a goldfish. Okay, so I said I did 190 kilograms for 5 reps, week 1. So let's go back to the sheet. Hang on a sec. Here, and let's just say this time I did 195. So I do 190, let's say 200 time, sorry, I've got the microphone in the way of my keyboard, 200. So what you need to do is do 85% of this, so 0.85, and there we go. So that's my new 5 rep max to start the second second part of this program, the second cycle, the second phase of this program, everything remains the same. So now let's look at the tier 2 exercises. So here's my starting weight, week 1, day 1. I've got my 3 warm-up sets, just like tier 1. And here you put in the number of reps you did. So let's say this session I did 3 sets of 10. We go to week 2, we can see we've added 5 kilograms. But let's say this session I did 8 reps on the final set. So as you can see, we have not incremented the weight by any amount. It's the same as it was the week before, but this time we're doing 3 sets of 8. Let's say this session I didn't achieve the 3 sets of 8. I didn't achieve any additional reps or anything. I'll go to the next session. You can see I'm doing 3 sets of 6 this time, the same weight as before. And just to save time, let's say I didn't achieve the base volume for this. I didn't achieve 3 sets of 6. I didn't achieve that base volume. This is where we have to now reset our weight for this tier 2 exercise. Now, you should really know what it is. I mean, realistically, if week 1 I'd started with 80, I would probably say by this time I would be probably it could be something like 85. So I put 85. Remember, you retest it. You don't write it in the sheet where it says reset. You write it in the next sheet, the next week, in this cell right here, and it should say weight. And you just put in whatever your new starting weight is for that. So that same applies for the tier 2B exercise. If you want to do that optional B exercise for tier 2, it's the exact same process. You go through the rep schemes. Once you fail to achieve the base volume, it drops down to a new rep scheme, a lower one. So 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 8, 3 sets of 6. And then once you are unable to continue, you fail to reach the base volume, then you have to restart again and put in your new starting weight for that tier 2 exercise. Job done. Let's go on to the final one. I hope this isn't going on too long for you guys who are watching this. So this, for example, let's say I'm doing the 3 sets of 15 to 25 rep scheme. Let's take the leg press as an example. So let's say week 1 I do 3 sets of 15. Go to week 2, I'm still doing 140 kilograms, there's been no increment. But let's say this session I do 25 reps. On that third and final set, I achieve 25 reps. Let's go to the next session. Boom, we've added the 20 kilogram increment. Why? It's because we achieved more than 25 reps. If you are unable to achieve the minimum below 25 reps, you do not make an increment. Let's just test something. And let's say I fail to achieve 15 reps on the third and final set. Let's say the first 2 went really well, but the final one did not. Again, nothing changes. We just have to do the weight again. So again, you can see here, just for example, let's say I do 30 reps. You can see it's gone up in weight. But interestingly, let's just check something out here. No, it's still the same. So yeah, that's how this program works. It is a little bit complicated. Now, once you've finished it, so you've repeated the cycle twice, you've reset your 5 rep maxes twice now. This is it now. You've reached the final stage. This is the last time you test your new main lifts, 5 rep maxes. You rest it this time. So once you get to this week 12, week 13, you do not do any tier 2 or tier 3 exercises. This week is 100% dedicated to finding your new 5 rep max. You chase that, you find it, and then you do the exact same thing. You take 85% of it, and then you restart it again. What you probably want to do is start a new spreadsheet, as it says here. So make sure you have another version saved. You save the original one and then make another spreadsheet to do that in, so that you don't have to keep downloading it from my website every couple of months. So do the next week, maybe do a light week, so 50% of your 1 rep max, very light work, maybe some cardio he suggests, and then you start the next week. After this deload week, you then start the program again. So after you chased your new 5 rep maxes, you take a deload week, then you restart and go all over again. I would say I did get asked a question about this actually. So let's just say, this week when we have to retest our tier 1 exercises, someone asked, should I rest all my tier 2 and tier 3 exercises as well? Well, probably no, because if you are like doing the squat here, then my advice would be to not do this exercise, so the tier 2B exercise, because you are chasing a new 5 rep max. You don't need to do this, and you probably don't need to do your tier 3 exercises that are leg focused, because you are investing a lot of energy in retesting your 5 rep max. And then when it comes to the next squat session, so on day 3, your tier 2A exercise, you probably can rest that again. It's really up to you. So for me personally, when I did this, I skipped the tier 3 exercise, I skipped the squat, but when I got to day 3, I actually continued doing my tier 2A squat exercise, because I had recovered in this space of time. So I just kept going with that. But you can take the whole week off. You can rest your squats. The same if it's the overhead press. If you're trying to chase a new 5 rep max, you can rest on the day 4, the tier 2A exercise. You can rest all your delt exercises, your tier 3 delt exercises. And the same with the deadlift. If you're chasing your new deadlift, let's say on day 4 here, this is it, you're retesting it, you want to find your new 5 rep max, you probably absolutely 100% want to do no other deadlifting that week. You want to just rest all deadlifting, all back exercises, tier 3 back exercises, and just focused on that new retesting of your 5 rep max. So again, it's really up to you how you feel, how you like to train, but that's how I did it. It worked for me, it might not work for you. So anyway, that's it. I've reviewed the program. That's the tutorial done. If you have any questions, comment below. Check out my website. That's where you can access this file and download it from. I've also done giving you a little bit more information on my website about this program. It might be interesting to you. You can check out my actual programs that I created on my website as well. They're downloadable for free. Some of them, it's just a small fee. You can sign up to my Patreon channel and get access to exclusive content, including voting rights. And also I offer private coaching. You can message me through my website or check out my Instagram, follow me, message me there, and we can get started on private coaching. So have a great day, keep lifting, stay strong, never give up.